Hey guys, it's Sam, and this is my spoiler-free review for The Witch's Heart by Genevieve Gornichek. This book was our Bibliothecary read-along buddy read for this quarter. So once a season, once a quarter, we all buddy read a book together on Discord, all of the Bibliothecary community, and starting this quarter with this book, we are also going to be doing a live show, kind of like book club discussing the book, for anyone that wants to join in live instead of as they read, or both. So if you're interested in having like a smaller book club like that to participate in, that's at your own pace, once a season. The link for the Bibliothecary is down below and on the screen. But this book is a Norse mythology retelling that's following our main character of Angrboda, and she is known in mythology as the mother of monsters. She was Loki's giantess wife, and in Norse mythology, giants aren't actually giants in stature. They're just like another type of people. But her and Loki had 3 children. Hale, who's like sort of goddess of the dead, is like a goddess of the underworld. Fenrir, the giant wolf, and the name that I always mess up, Gormengander? Yeah, the world serpent, the snake that wraps around the world. But in this story, we're specifically following her and them sort of like falling in love, and her living in the woods and being a forest witch, which I love, and her becoming the mother of monsters and all that. So this is to Norse mythology what Circe was to Greek mythology, honestly. It's not the exact kind of same story. The writing style is slightly different, but I will say that this resonated in a similar way with me that Circe did. Also, I love a lone witch in the woods, or on an island in Circe's case. So I was gonna resonate with this regardless. But first I'm gonna talk about the world building. So like I said, Norse mythology, this is mostly set in the Ironwood forests, and again, I love a witch in the woods. I love a witch in the woods. So it's mostly taking place there. And what's cool about this too is, again, similar to Circe, if you read that one, I don't wanna make a ton of comparisons to it because they are different books, but in the way that Circe weaves Circe into other mythologies or other like myths that aren't just hers, and like the Odyssey, this does that as well with our main character here. So there's a number of different figures that are sort of like one-off figures within Norse mythology that are explained as being her, so she gets a more fully fleshed out story, which I think is really cool, and I like when retellings do that. And I like Norse mythology. I like most mythologies. I think mythology is cool. I think Norse mythology is wild, and it just reminded me of some of the like myths and things that I already knew, like Ragnarok plays a part in here and stuff like that, but also added some new things that I then looked up after to be like, was that the actual myth or did she tweak that or whatever? So that was really fun. Next, let me talk about our characters. Our main character, again, I love a witch in the woods. So I was obsessed with her. Like I love that. Also, her being the mother of monsters, like, it hurts my heart. I love that. Her dynamics with her children are very compelling, and I just like completely feel for her. I will say the other characters, slightly more lackluster. In particular, her dynamic with Loki, I don't really buy it. Yes, it's part of the myth and whatever, but in the story, I really wish that he would have been a little bit more compelling, a little bit more interesting. Now, I know Loki, before someone says this to me, I'm not stupid. I know that Loki is not the same as like the MCU Loki, but when I'm saying Loki as a character or as like a myth, as a deity, whatever, he's like a very charming dude and very like interesting, and in this he felt a little bit more juvenile, and in a way that I was like, why is she even into him? Like, this really makes no sense why they have this connection. And he was always sort of seen like as a little bit, not quite slimy, but like a little bit like that from the beginning. So I wish he would have had a little bit more dimension. I really like all of her kids and just like the ways that they are similar and different and like those dynamics. And there are a few other characters again from myth that I really like. I will say, because I didn't know this going into it, this book is sapphic. So yeah, not only do we have some stuff with Loki, but we have some stuff with other people, and I really dug that. So some of those dynamics were really interesting. I think it's a little bit hard, and I will get into this with the plot stuff. I do think it's a little hard to depict some of these relationships and things because this book takes place over a very long period of time, and what I think is kind of cool about that and the way that this is written, that although sometimes it felt like I was a little bit disconnected from it, I think it did a good job of showing how time passes to immortals, where it's like, yeah, it is like a blip. It is a page turn, and then it's been hundreds of years, you know, it's been a millennia. Like, that makes sense to me. And this ultimately being a story about her like identity, things that she doesn't remember about her past, which like the story gets into, and all of that, like her as this character and as this archetype, and almost as like every version of femininity in a way. Chef's kiss, I loved it. So I gave this 4 to 4.5 stars. It couldn't quite hit a 5 because of some of the like the character things, and again like the Loki relationship, which is so central, but her I love her. I was looking up like fan art of her and her kids after, and like, you know, old art, because obviously she's part of Norse mythology. So yeah, I'm now like obsessed with her, and the art depicting her and like her children, iconic, honestly. So yeah, I highly recommend this if you're into mythology and you don't mind a slower story. So comment down below, let me know what you thought of The Witch's Heart. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye.